we are now talking to Oregon tight end recruit JT Byrne. What up, JT? How are you, man?
How you guys doing? Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, man. I'm a little jumpy today. Did you lose any electricity? Did the hurricane hit you?
No, we're on our side, we're on the West Coast, and nothing in Carmel except for a little bit of fog. But
well, there you go. I mean, if we just had fog, I would be very happy. We had so many trees, so many poles. I mean, it was an absolute catastrophe here in New York. There are people right here in Long Island that probably will not get their electricity or their internet back for at least possibly 5 days. In Connecticut, like you said, my producer over here, his family had to pick up a generator here because they might have electricity for 10 days.
That's so sad. I'm sorry, guys. And obviously with everything that's going on right now as well, that's definitely not helping with everyone being home.
Well, we're happy to have you. So we're going to have some fun with you. I told you, and I told my producer to tell you, this isn't an interview that you would expect. We like to get into serious questions, and then we're going to have some fun with you, all right?
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
All right. So I wanted to, we ask a lot of the different recruits before you were recruited, what made you decide to play football? I'm sure you're very athletic. You're 6'6", 238 pounds. You could have played basketball. You could have played baseball. Look at Aaron Judge. He's 260, 280 pounds, and he's 6'8". He's an unbelievable powerhouse in the MLB. And what made you pick football out of all the other sports?
Yeah, that's funny that you asked that because going into freshman year of high school, I never stepped on a football field. And I always, my dad played football in college. His brothers played. So football's obviously in the family. And so I was always very familiar with it. Mm-hmm. But for me, I just love competing. And I always loved playing basketball and baseball growing up and was super excited to play football in high school. And I just wanted to compete every single day. That's why I played 3 sports, because as soon as you win one season, the next day you're stepping on the field playing another game. And for me, I want to play at the highest level possible. And I wanted to play Division I athletics. And I kind of learned as my high school career kept going that football was going to give me that best opportunity to play at the highest level. And I'm just so thankful and blessed that, these schools were giving me opportunities, and Oregon State gave me an opportunity to play for them. And I'm just super excited to be on board. And, football as high school's progressed, it's just morphed into my favorite sport and my passion. And I never really, people would always ask me, what's your favorite sport? You play all 3. And I'd always say, I just love playing them all. But as my high school career's progressed, it's really turned into football, and I'm really excited.
So the Pac-12, you obviously went to Oregon State, recruiting to Oregon State. The Pac-12 actually was one of the few conferences, especially throughout college football, that they utilize their tight ends a lot more. We see a lot of tight ends used at Oregon and Stanford and schools like that. A lot of ones that have been good in the NFL too. Did that sway your decision to come into the Oregon State as being utilized more as a tight end?
Yeah, I think something that was key for me throughout the recruiting process is obviously every school and team is looking for that certain build, especially when it comes to tight end, because there's a lot of different ways that you can use the tight end. And I think obviously going through the recruiting process for me, I was trying to find a fit where it was also similar to what I was doing in high school, but also something that I can expand on and develop. And I think that's something that's really key. And something that I found in Oregon State specifically is that, Coach Wozniak, the tight ends coach there, he was a former tight end. He played at Wisconsin. So he obviously knows the game. And I really wanted to play for someone who knew the game and could, help me develop and teach me and try to get me to the next level.
As you guys know, we are talking to Oregon State tight end recruit JT Byrne. Now, JT, when you talk about recruiting and recruiting players, a lot of coaches go and talk to your families and probably tell you about the school, how wonderful the school is, how wonderful the women are, how wonderful the academics are. What made you decide Oregon State out of all the different schools that were recruiting you?
Yeah, that's a good question, because obviously every school that's recruiting you, and every school's like the recruiter's job is to obviously persuade you and make you feel like that's home and comfortable. And I think something that Oregon State did a really good job is they before COVID hit, they were the first ones to, come to my school, talk to my family, talk to my coaches, and they were the first ones that really expressed interest. And I really felt that they believed in me since day one. And, that was something that got me really fired up. And obviously, I think the relationship building is key, especially with all the coaches, not just your position coach, but, being able to build that relationship with the coaches and then also the other recruits. They did a really good job, like I was able to get set up with other recruits via Twitter and talk to them about why they chose Oregon State. And I think that was something that was key for me is obviously the relationships. And that was probably the biggest takeaway throughout this recruiting is I'm looking for a place that can foster great relationships beyond football and beyond your years playing, because you can only play football for so long, but you want good connections for the rest of your life and good relationships. And I just feel that Oregon State was very well aware of that, as well as wanting to win football games.
Your position now in the tight end position is becoming a lot more versatile than it used to be. It used to be just a short pass type thing, or you were a blocker. Now you're spreading out as a wide receiver. We see tight ends line up in the backfield a lot of the time. Have you witnessed that in your high school career so far? And if so, do you think this is going to be something that continues to expand?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I think obviously you watch like George Kittle and Travis Kelce, and those guys are animals, and they're doing everything. And I've seen the Chiefs hand the ball off to Kelce, and so they're obviously very versatile. I think on the high school, I've been blessed enough to have played quarterback, receiver. I've taken direct snaps and ran the ball. So I think that's something that I really enjoy is trying to get the ball in any way possible, obviously, but also see the game from different perspectives, and it really helps with IQ for sure. And I think that's something I want to take to college as well, is like have these coaches know that I'm definitely willing to line up as a wide receiver or go out and block as a wing or get down in a 3-point stance. Like I've been lucky enough to have that experience in high school.
The tight end position has become a very important position in the NFL. You see the strength of some of these wide receivers, the 6'6". We talk about Gronk. We've talked about Tony Gonzalez over the years. There are so many great athletic tight ends that have come into the league and really changed the game because of their speed, their ability. If you look at your style of game, your speed, your hands, what stands out more than anything when it comes to the tight end position?
Yeah, I think for me, what has definitely hopefully opened the eyes of recruiters and Oregon State specifically is our offense in high school is very pass heavy, and I've been able to line up wide. I've been able to line up as a tight end and really spread the field vertically and try to go up and get the ball. And I think I would say that my hands are probably the best part of my game. Where if I tell my quarterbacks, just throw it within the vicinity of me, and I will catch the ball for you. And if I don't, it's not your fault, And I just try to make my quarterbacks feel as comfortable as possible, especially going up and getting the ball. And I try to translate basketball to it as much as possible, especially as a wide receiver, going against a corner, going into the end zone, trying to box them out and make a play like that. And then obviously I try to take pride in just out hustling my opponent, and that comes with, sometimes I take the ball as a direct snap at quarterback and run the Wildcat in high school. And I think that's something that hopefully coaches saw, that I'm willing to, go anywhere on the field and just try to make plays and help the team win in any way I can.
Can you see in the future the tight end positioning at some point, whether it's the college football level or the NFL level, can you see the tight end surpassing wide receiver in terms of importance? And if so, why?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, obviously, when you're on a football team, every single position has the same importance because, our high school football coach tells us this all the time. Everyone needs to do their job to keep each other safe. And that's the reality of it. So I think, it can be viewed differently. Obviously, if someone's getting the ball, someone's getting 15 catches a game, people could view that as more importance. But also, there's 5 linemen blocking for the quarterback being able to make those throws. And the quarterback's making those throws. So I think it, obviously from an importance level, I don't know if it will overcome the receiver, but obviously I think it's morphing into the tight end having definitely more roles on the field. And I think that's going to keep happening. Where, obviously the new style of tight end is a more athletic type where they can go out and catch the ball, but also block. And that's just changing from tight ends just being blockers back in the day. So I think the significance of roles will increase for tight ends for sure.
Now, when you look at the transition of game from high school to college, I've been watching a lot of Netflix because in the last couple of months, there hasn't been any sports. So I'm trying to find all these sports documentaries. There's a QB1 documentary where I learned a little bit about Justin Field, who right now plays for Ohio State. He chose to go to, I think it was Georgia, if I'm not mistaken.
So he went to Georgia, then obviously, like you said, transferred to Ohio State. He was the number 1 quarterback recruit in 2017.
And I got to learn a lot about these high school kids and really the transition of the game and understanding the coaches and the way they train the coaches, typically pushing the kids to a totally different limit when you go to college. When you look at your style of game, and I ask this to a lot of tight ends and wide receivers, do you see your style of game fitting college football and then possibly going to the NFL? Because some guys tell me, yes, they do, and then all of a sudden you watch them play college ball and they're all over the place. Now, I ask you this because we've interviewed a lot of tight ends, and they're very confident about themselves, and I want to know your thoughts to your position. If when you get to Oregon State and you have the opportunity to play, do you see yourself as a typical blocking, big-time playmaking tight end, or do you see yourself your strengths to be blocking and being half a good catcher? I don't know. I mean, where do you see yourself as a tight end?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think something that I've always kind of liked to enter into a competition is kind of take it, not with a chip on my shoulder, but feeling like I have something to prove. And obviously, I think for me, just watching college football and observing other people in high school, I will do whatever I can to compete at the highest level and give my full effort. And I won't be satisfied if I'm not giving my full effort, obviously. And I think for me, my ultimate goal is obviously to help Oregon State win as many football games as possible. And I want to win every single game. And I think the reality of that is obviously as a freshman, I don't know what the coaches have in store for me. I know they haven't even really seen me work out for them yet, but I'm going to do whatever I can to get onto the field and contribute in any way they need me to. And obviously, personally, I do feel like I can contribute in an offensive way and in a way of blocking and going out and catching the ball. And obviously, whatever they need me to do, I'm willing to do. And I just want to keep expanding my game as I get older as well.
You're entering a conference in the Pac-12 that is notorious for having a lot of parity. There's really no obvious teams in the Pac-12. They used to be USC and Oregon. They had their stretches where they were one of the best teams in college football. Now there's really no obvious team, but they have these great games. They have these Pac-12 After Dark games that are crazy, and there's a lot of parity throughout the conference. Is that something you're looking forward to, playing these wild competitive games?
Absolutely. And that's something I'm so grateful for to be a part of because living on the West Coast and growing up on the West Coast, it's a lot of Pac-12 football that I go and watch. And all the college football I've watched in person has been Pac-12, and it's just such a great atmosphere and definitely something I've always dreamed of being a part of. And I'm so grateful to be able to do that for the next 4 years. And I think, obviously, hopefully there will be crowds at one point in the near future. And that's something that's really cool too, is running out of the tunnel to having a huge crowd behind you and playing in those electric games. And I think that's something that every athlete definitely dreams of. And that's something I've been dreaming of for a long time.
As you guys know, we are talking to Oregon State tight end recruit JT Byrne. Now, JT, a lot of fans will probably want to know what type of person are you? Are you a funny guy? Are you a trickster in the locker room? What kind of person are you that the fans in Oregon State is going to look forward to seeing on the field?
Yeah, I think something I definitely like to pride myself on is I love just being with my teammates and making connections. That's a big thing for me. I'm going to be the hardest working person I can be. And I'm going to try to be the best teammate I can be. And I do pride myself on, being a nice person, but obviously when I get on the field, like I'm trying to win games, and I think my competitiveness will show on the field, but obviously I really am just really excited to make a lot of connections with people there and build relationships and just be with my teammates and joke around with my teammates and have a good time.